So this is a historical vlog. I want to talk about my military injuries. I don't often talk about it or bring it up, but this is a time. I have a bag over here I try to reach with my left arm. I cannot hold my arm up. It like slides in the socket. It's fucking hurt. I really think it had to do with the monstrous amount of push-ups they have you do. They have you doing push-ups. I was doing like you don't get better because you do more. You get better because you do them intense and then you take a break to heal. You don't get better. You know, when I had a vehicle accident, how I felt after a vehicle accident is identical to how I felt after a workout. Are you really supposed to work out that hard? Anyway, I had like a suicidal ruck march that I was forced to go on. I didn't want to go on it. I hated the mileage. It was like 15 miles or something. And I had a limp after that. The next day, I couldn't walk. I physically could not walk. Um, and like I had to move recently. Within 2 trips to my car, I was dragging my leg. Like I am fucking disabled. Um, and they pay. I was in a rollover. They pay me for it too. I was in a rollover, tumbled down a hill, wearing body armor and stuff like that. And yeah, it fucked my back up. I used to wake up in the middle of the night, basically screaming. Um, Sucks. Allegedly, I was shot in the head. I have not seen the X-rays for this, and it was discovered on accident when I was in treatment for something else, and I fell and hit my head, and they did a scan while I was there, and they found it out then. They're like, I've had a few people who looked at my record be like, you were shot, and I don't know how bad it is, but since I was like silly slidle, they never told me or like kept it from me. But yeah, I remember like this bloody spot in my face, and it wasn't a huge hole, which it doesn't always have to be. And I remember I touched it, and it hurt like hell, and it just like was bleeding all the time for like days. I thought I had like cut myself or something like that. Even though I don't shave up here, it's like I was like, did I cut myself shaving? I just ignored it. So people have done that before. They got a bullet wound and didn't know. It's not uncommon. But um, yeah, fucked me up. So I do have body problems, uh, and it kind of like getting into alternative methods of healing got me into channeling, which got me into. I kind of became like a Professor Xavier type person. I used like an expressed form of remote viewing to do stuff. So I had a second life doing that. So yeah, I believe in basic income. I believe that like most people should have a right to quit and that workers should be paid per action, not for hours. You're making, an hourly rate doing over and over activities. Just get rid of the hourly rate and pay them for the job. Hey, I stocked all these water bottles and got one holographic dollar per water bottle. You can make 1,000 holographic dollars a day very quickly. And adding one holographic dollar per person who touches it won't make it more expensive. It really won't. Because you think about moneyed units, it's like you bought a water bottle for $1. That's 100 moneyed units, So holographic money makes prints less money than the government prints, and it's more efficient because it caps government pay, and then there's no tax on the civilian side. It's a way better idea. The current method is like they want to take from taxes every dollar they print, which makes no sense. You're taxing the dollar. How are you going to pay off the dollars you print with dollars you tax? It's literally a slave hoax. Like, we're going to heaven. No, no, no. They circumcised you and they're lying about that heaven stuff. Yeah. So, I called it out. But anyway, these is about my military injuries. Yeah, one was a forced ruck march. I have had problems with that leg every day since. I'm basically like a non moving or barely moving person, which is true. You can watch it, that's what happens. Um, and then my shoulders just, I don't remember when particularly the shoulder was a problem, but it's a problem now. I have extremely limited movement. It just like, it feels like it's sliding out of socket, and I'm not interested in surgery. I'm really not. I'm totally fine with the disability settlement they gave me. I think it's a cush way to live, and I deserve it because it sucked. And it really is like I do have problems, and I don't care. So, and like I shrugged off like a pretty severe head wound, I think, just like nothing had happened. So, yeah, I found out years later during an X-ray for something else. They told me, and then the people who did my whole like they had my medical record. They told me, but I haven't seen it myself. And but I do remember like an intense pain and like a bloody spot in my face and a bad headache. And I remember like doing things later, and anytime I'd bounce, I'd feel it like this like freaking intense pain. But it's partly why I got into like alcoholism too. It's just a way to numb it. And really, the thing that got me out of alcoholism was dewormer, and like real dewormer, like farm animal stuff. And then also understanding circumcision was a crime the real government did to me. Because now I'm not blaming for like my problems. I know that they attacked and cut me to hurt me, and that it's their fault. You know, I shouldn't feel bad. Yeah, currently in my time, the law supported slavery. The law supports bombing other people. The law supports the slaughter of animals. The law is not the good guy. The law means you obey words or else, which, if you notice, I designed holographic money to be not that. The billboard is kind of like a social courtesy, whose name is on the billboard and what boundary did they draw. It's not really a law. It's like, here's how it works with no law. The AI reports what's happening. So and so took these items and they're there, and then the devil's crew or people who care have to do something about it. So they act in the integrity of no law for them, doing what they want. So, yeah. So and so is scamming people. The AI is not going to automatically do something to them. The people have to get together and do something in response to that. So to me, it makes it a lot more honest. Like, can you go around flipping off and cussing out your neighbors? No. They're going to turn against you and do things against you. And that's exactly what I'm counting on with no law. Good information, and like if the no law reports, hey, this guy who victimized everybody got victimized, the people can choose to do nothing about that. Oh well, I don't really care. But yeah, um, yeah, I turned 20 and 21 in the same war zone without a break, and at that time, my sister apparently was invited by Bill Clinton to go to the president's classroom. She's like, they're all pedophiles. So, yep. They just happened to find a reason to extend my tour dates. We were supposed to go home after 12, and they were like, no, no, we're extending you. So I knew people who died in the extension window. I saw whole units get killed. Like, a lot of people died. Totally, totally new faces. It's like you go with one crew. And due to attrition, people being killed, they look totally different by the end. So, yep, I lost friends. I lost friends that I just like, you can't think about it. I forgot who they were until years later, like, the head injury. I didn't have time to do anything. I just had to get over it. Yeah. Not all bullet wounds are like huge explosions on the body. Sometimes they just like go in and go out without noticing. Like, what was his name? 50 Cent was shot 9 times. You can barely tell. So, yeah, sad. Yeah, if you could be wounded, if you've got weaknesses, usually that gets purged from the genetic record. Like, we are the descendants who believe in themselves and like it here. Because if you hate it, you'll commit suicide. And, you can try to wound us, but it doesn't work. Have you ever, like, sprayed a cockroach and he just doesn't die? It's exactly like that. Like, that was supposed to kill him, but it didn't. So, yeah. Definitely a lot of the things the secret government does are to cause disruption. And so identifying that who our enemy really is, it's not Satan, it's not each other. Our enemy is a group of people who prey on us for things like sex and labor. And correctly identifying that brought a lot of pressure off both me and like other people in my life, as a lot of people ended up agreeing. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the last place I was at, the woman who attacked me, I think was trans. So some trans people basically had no life as a boy. They were already circumcised. They already saw everyone was always going to attack them for being a man, and so they abandoned it. But unfortunately, they think they're better than other boys. Like when you abandon being a boy to put down men and then to try to date women, that's like it's not their fault because those decisions were made for them really early in their life, but it is like a huge fucking problem. But yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that holographic money has a basic living free tier that's not too much. It incorporates security in the free tier, so it's incredibly efficient. Um, there's no law. The AI will just report victim causing behaviors. Like they hurt somebody, they did that. And people can hear about it and they might choose to care. They can maybe even review the log of when it happened and then decide what to do. It's not a law. You don't have to obey words or else, but it is like it'll and hopefully like here's the secret with the AI. The people rather than resisting it and going, no, AI is bad or it's going to go bad, too late. It's coming. There's going to be a non-physical intelligence with or not a non-physical. There's going to be a non-biological intelligence with us that we made. So rather than hating it, get on in the development of it. Help the development of it. So, but yeah. I cannot do much on my leg, or I'm dragging it. Like it literally is like fucking broken. And my arm has huge reach problems and hurts in the rotator. Like I don't know. You just do so much stuff over and over beyond exhaustion. Yeah, and it's fucking done. The rollover affected my back. It did. You can't spin around with body armor over and over and then be like, some people can. Maybe you're lucky. I knew people who died from that. I knew people who were literally killed from rollovers. Yeah. So I got lucky. I think I had something to do the holographic speed painting. Like I almost got killed in a deep buried IED. It was a huge, like basically bomb, one of those like deep culvert things. It lifted the whole road up, and I was almost right on top of it, and the driver's going with traffic, and then he swerves and goes into oncoming traffic, and suddenly like yeah, the road is destroyed. Um, and I survived. But he said, this is literally what the driver said. The driver turned around and looked at me and he goes, I saw a flash of light. Yeah. So that's what told him to turn as he saw a flash of light. And he turned around and looked at me when he said that. So yeah, me challenging circumcision, me showing holographic speed painting, and me helping with like the secret government was probably my purpose. It's like I had a hard life of some grueling details that are uncomfortable. No one would want to live through what I lived through. No way. It's not something you want to repeat. But it gave me the information I needed to help the most of you. So it does. You end the genital mutilation of children, defeat the secret government, and develop free energy. I've done a huge thing. Yeah. So I'm proud of that. And that's what I work on day to day. That's also the way I live differently, and I don't care. I don't care that I wear the same rainbow clothes every day. I don't smell. Who cares? Oh, these cat ears are for girls? I don't give a shit. You know what this is? This is a cupcake ornament. A cupcake used to be my username. So yeah. The AI spaceship core would let you look however you want and live forever for free. That's the goal, is you make a chip that has an objects and energy from nowhere technique and it allows you to live forever for free. Um, yeah, it's funny. I don't know who shot me. I don't know if it was shrapnel enemy or one of our people. It could have been my roommate because he and I had a fight. And what was funny is I ended up going to his wedding. Yeah, I ended up going to his wedding, and he was shocked when I got up. He's like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "What do you mean I'm on shift?" And he just like couldn't get it. He's like, I remember him like, I thought I took you out, and here you are. But I didn't know anything had happened to me. I just had a headache, and it was like, oh, this fucking bloody thing. Because I mean, You wouldn't believe what they ask you to push yourself toward. And now that I know, like, the boots hurt your feet, the boots really hurt your feet. The boots will ruin your feet. And I used to be like, oh well, but now I know it's like, what if they hate you? What if they gave you bad boots on purpose and made you do a bunch of walking to fuck your feet up? And they're doing that while they're getting foot massages from teenagers, right? They're like hanging out with the girls they have as sex slaves, getting touched all the time. And they're like, oh yeah, him, he gets clothes that don't fit right and he can do things that ruin his body for fun. How dare you think you're as cool as me? That sort of thing. So, yeah, the fight for breeding is one of the most scandalous and horrible things about humanity. You know how animals eat each other? The fight for breeding is a lot like that in its cruelty, the gravity, and the cost of flesh. Yeah, because you're making a dying being by being the most selfish thing in existence. I think it's pretty gross. So yeah, I'm asking for Star Wars copied Skeleton Crew. There's no skeletons in Star Wars, but Star Wars and Jude Law is like Skeleton Crew. I talked to somebody online earlier, and he's like, it's Jude Law, which is funny because to them, I'm not being honest because I don't have any accounts that have like nice metrics or verified, but it's me. It's not anybody else. It's really me. I don't even try to get verified. I don't care. It takes a lot of money to be famous. Some people make a lot of money. Imagine you had 10,000 bitcoins. You would have Asmongold money. I did not buy Bitcoin. I think holographic money is a better idea than God and pyramid dollars. AI puts your life on the money. It's digital first. You can print it as a collectible. The spot auction is a more efficient form of home ownership. It's not forever, but it's not so short of a time it's useless. The minimum's 100 years. A 1 year spot auction means the whole world sees this parcel is up for auction on this date. You can buy auctioned land from flippers, but to me, since you can only own 10 at a time, it kind of limits the flipper to be more of like a hobbyist. It should be interesting to get a flipped home from a nice flipper. Like they always do a great job. You can trust them. It's worth the premium, that sort of thing, I guess. But yeah, if you die with a spot auction, it goes to somebody else. So you can auction it again, or they can give it to the family member. I think it should just be like the auction person has to decide before they die, does it go to the auction again or does it go to a family member? You know, you decide. So you had a 100-year spot auction and died after 65 years. That goes to, do you have any living relatives who want to claim? If not, it goes on a small, that's what the 3% on the spot auction money does, is it goes toward the billboard people. All right, fix it up, get it sellable again. And then there's no like starting bid. There's no minimum it costs. It's basically you can get a cheap auction on land that people don't want. You've never owned a 1 year spot auction. You can work for 10 years, save up a ton of holographic money, and then go win the spot auction you want, which should be the float economy. When you're combining cooperation with centralized distribution and like new materials, don't build these big expensive wooden houses. What are you doing building wooden houses again in Oklahoma? Go underground. Or get those dome houses. The bubble houses are cool. So you get a bubble house, you lay it with like steel rivets, which isn't too expensive. You're talking about a giant piece of steel you can bend and you just weave them together so they all are touching each other. And then you cover that with concrete and remove the dome. You remove the bubble. 1 day builds costing, a 3% of what the main thing costs. What's wrong with that? Can you have wiring out in the open? Can you just have like, oh yeah, this is the power generator and the cables are on the ground, we just buried them? Is that fine? We hung the cables up with hooks we put in the wall. Is that okay? No, it has to be insulated with wood so you can't look at it in a little socket. That's the way it has to be, does it? I'm really down with people going. I know this is supposed to be about VA, but I'm really like, which the VA was nice. The VA took care of me. Um, I'm not really for all of these VA hospitals all over the place because I notice they'll spend money on things that keep you occupied, like school. Like, okay, so the VA now all of a sudden there's all these people who spend every waking moment of their life caring for veterans. Can you just make it more efficient? Can a guy just have holographic money? The Devil's Crew would basically be like new military be paid in Devil's Crew. Instead of 333, you get 666. And your money has your life on it. So if you're doing cool things, and this is not that I believe in the number of the beast, it's a respect for Tesla's love of 369. I hope he's real. Tesla could be Jesus too. Remember that time that guy made free energy for free? It's like, do it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Uh, my hope is that, yeah, it's 333 for free for doing nothing. I was listening to this guy talk who does construction. I don't do anything and I get paid all year. I cost less than half a soap dispenser annually. And I was talking to this guy who does construction and he makes 45 an hour. So he makes three times what I make. He does work 8 hours a day. I don't do anything, but I did work to earn it. To me, that's fair. To me, that's a nice ratio. He makes three times what I make. I don't do anything, but he has three times more cash than I have. I think that's fair. If you were like he makes 100 times what I make, I'd be like, okay, now you're like screw poor guy, get a job. I used to do that when I was homeless. I used to go around and look at construction workers and go get a job. I had girls drop their ID cards around my car. One time, I've had people try to sell me fentanyl, like all this weird stuff. If I wanted to commit silly slide, I would definitely do it with fentanyl, but I wouldn't hang myself. That to me is just painful. Mose News and what's his name? Robin Williams killed himself. Anthony Bourdain killed himself. Yeah, their drugs are like poison. So they're like, don't do drugs, and then at the same time they're gonna flood the market with this stuff that is like poison. If it's delicious, you're gonna love it, but it ruins your contact organs. It's like caustic. And they know they do that too. It's like how syphilis is man made. So syphilis looks like a silvery spiral staircase and it attacks collagen. And then if you eat house mold, if you find moldy food and just eat it anyway, you won't get syphilis, you'll get cured. But they told you the house mold's dangerous because they knew enough to know that their little concoction wouldn't work if you had some, protection. So, and they did that so you would get circumcised. So the girls were virgins. So it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs is really the hierarchy of motivations. Food, shelter, sex is on there. I want the best virgin bishes to be totally available and into me. Well, the way you do that is economic disenfranchisement. The way you do that is put genital mutilation in the religions. That's how you do it. So I can quit. I can go along with them or I can fight them, which is what I chose. I chose to fight them. If Luigi's Luigi, I'm Star Fox. So, yeah. And I'm offering you something better than their total obliteration is do holographic money and go to the AI spaceship core. You have a right to have a nice life for your body. I agree. I'm giving people lives better than I'll ever have. There are things that happen to me that are so bad. Me having a nice life is literally physically impossible. And the reasons those bad things happen to me live on planet Earth with me. It's not all he did it to himself. No, most of it is other people chose to do that to me against my will. So, yeah, take that factory farm dewormer. That shit's good. Yeah, I definitely, if you went through like service, one, instead of doing automatic military service, ask for basic income. 333 a day is not that much. If you live 100 years, that'll be 12 million holographic dollars, which, by the way, there's no zeros, so that's really like 120,000, right? There's no decimals, so it's like 120,000. Um, which is way cheaper than they pay you for school, the police, all this medical stuff. It watches your life and puts your life on it. It will, like, I'm down for like privacy things like, hey, I look stupid and my life is horrible. Don't make my holographic money about me. Make my holographic money about this. I'm fine with you having it in the app, your request for how your money looks, and the AI does it. The AI is not like fighty, like, no, I'm gonna violate your badge. Like, sure, you want it all about your dog. It's your dog money. That'd be a funny joke. Dog money. Do you have real money? Do you live a real life, or is it about your dog? You know what I mean? And then 666 is like, if you're a real servant, this is them running into a burning building. This is them uh, doing this or that. Mass produce AI chips. The last thing you'll do is mass produce an AI spaceship. Is that this spaceship, you figured out how to self-generate energy. You figured out how to turn energy into matter, which I think are both coming, are both possible. I recommend that the total way you see nature works, the way you see nature work is not the beginning and end of possibility for us. It's the way nature works. It's just a way, right? And you can do more by discovering it, like metallic glass. Nature doesn't make metallic glass, but metallic glass is a thing, a very useful thing. By stacking atoms precisely, they managed to make a ball bounce and retain like 100% of its, like 90% of its vector. It usually is like, it drops and then drops and then drops, and that's what you got. Now it's like this. It doesn't lose any energy. Metallic glass. So I think you're going to figure out like how to fly into the sun, how to live forever for free. I hope you make new people where instead of it's like get ready to work until you rot alive, it's like they're actually able to socialize and they're actually able to touch and be touched by others. That would be nice. And then they are able to live forever for free. Like, I'm going to go to another galaxy. It shouldn't be a huge issue. It should be like your spaceship will take care of your waste and food and your health and your company. You're going to have the craziest 1,000 years to party. You're going to feel amazing doing it. No government's going to be poisoning you, so they're the best. You know what I mean? Would the government poison you to suffer? They promised to circumcise you. They did that. So yeah, they would do things like caffeine is really a neurotoxin, which people have said. Um, it's the pattern. God said crucifixion is the way you heal sins. What's a sin? He's sinning. He's going to cut pieces off your genitals. When you're a baby, you better believe he's sinning. But you don't get it yet. You wouldn't understand. It's one of these things like uber rich people told me is like, you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't understand. Like, oh, okay, it's that time. Yep. So that's it. Yeah, I am paid legitimately for real injuries I suffered doing the line of duty. Sometimes I said, I don't want to do that. Sometimes I said no. There's a few times that I was like, that's not, and it basically came down to you have to, and the result was pain and injury. So they pay me. That's not really contestable. They've paid me for like pretty much over 10 years now. So they've never asked for a re-review. The medical evidence is pretty much there, and it's not really arguable. I don't provide the records. They can talk to the organizations, and they will mail their own records that verify it, that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't believe everybody should go get disabled. I think you should have a free basic income for doing nothing. For old Social Security? They made you earn your Social Security through working? You're a slave! You're a slave! They looked at you and said, no, 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 I get everything for free. Yeah. I'm gonna make a ton of money. You know when money's valuable is when no one else has any. If everyone else has some money, it's like But if you want to enslave them, if you want to have a bunch of boys throw themselves off to die for you, and if you want to have a bunch of girls who are available for weddings, you need to make sure nobody has anything. Oh yeah, this one job is paying that'll kill the boys, and these girls can go to this thing where they'll get a handout for some sex favors. They know they're doing that. That's what they did. That's what the Democratic Party is. That's who they are. They've always been that way. You know, you have to catch it to catch on. They're not your friends. The Santa Claus people are not your friends. They don't care about you at all. Durr. So anyway, I hope it gets better for people after me. I hope people listening to this one day are like, gosh, it's way better now. Oh man. Anyway, have a nice life if you can.